a proper support. I can just
Morning, how are you?
All right, and you?
Fine. Been doing lots of medical stuff. I'm going on Friday morning for that pain block in my back.
Oh, okay.
The medication is not good.
Is it not working?
Well, I took the the prescribed meds that the doc sent, and they sent me into it. While I was down in Cape Town, I lost all focus in my eyes, you know, and things like that.
Yeah.
And I take that the stuff, and I said, I decided, no, I'm not going to do it. Not going to continue with the, what's it, Nurica or Lyrica is the medicine's name. And then contact the doctor, and yeah, they're going to do the pain block on Friday morning.
All right. Yeah, it's a problem of medication, you know. It's trial and fucking error, dude.
It's actually amazing how much I've had trouble with medication the past year, where, you know, the stuff that the cardiologist fucked around in my brain, and now suddenly this anti-inflammatory that's so screwing around with me as well.
You see, now this is maybe where you need to start looking at some of the more natural applications that might benefit, and the only way to do that is to ask the question, isn't there anything natural that we could be taking instead of, you know, this fabricated fucking, you know what's amazing? Medication is supplied by pharmacies. It's called the pharmaceutical industry. And the word pharmacy comes from the word pharmakia. Pharmakia is a demonic spirit, scripturally.
Okay.
That's an interesting point of note. It is a demonic spirit.
Your side, my side, where we have those beef. Okay.
So, you know, even though as a paramedic, I still maintain, look, there are certain things that we need to do. John was a doctor, a disciple of Christ. He was a doctor. Must have, somewhere along the line, administered medication. So we got to stop and think about this logically now. If you've got a disciple of Christ who is a doctor, and look, Christ would have taken anybody on. I mean, he had prostitutes around him.
Yeah.
But he would have rebuked John for prescribing pharmakia. He never did that. So there's nothing to say we shouldn't go to doctors. There's also nothing to say we shouldn't take medication. But if you look at how Satan takes what God created, twists it, distorts it, makes a photocopy of it, and puts that out into the market, what do you think Pharmakia has done? Pharmakia might have taken the root of the beet, for example, and fabricated this synthetically and added cyanide to it, and that's what they're giving us.
Yeah.
So I'm back down to what I originally said. If this medication, and you're right, you've identified it, and I agree with you because you've told me on several occasions, this has happened, that has happened, you've had this side effect, that side effect. We know that medicaments have side effects. That's it. Maybe your body doesn't want any of this pharmakia. Maybe you need to start looking at the natural stuff, like the dieting, for example. You could have gone on to any of these fucking medical diets and screwed yourself up big time. I mean, just to manage your sugar, levels, for argument's sake. You can end up on insulin, which is
And the
far
more, and the more insulin that you take, the worse it becomes.
yeah, so you need more insulin to overcome the insulin that sent the sugar up over the mountain in the first place. That's exactly the argument. And this is why I like the scriptural, spiritual side to what we do in our day-to-day lives. Look for the natural things. And, you know, even your doctors, I mean, ask them. They will. And ethically, I mean, legally, they've got to give you alternates. Even if it is natural and it's not out of the pharmacy. Which is why homeopaths might be able to assist as well. You know, like dandelion, for example, or blackjacks have got a medicinal purpose to it. I must study it further because I can maybe harvest my fruit and make a million.
You've got the forest out there.
You know what? During COVID, I've never seen so many blackjacks in my yard in my life. As a child, I mean, all of our felt around us was full of blackjacks. Anyway, I bought bandweed, and I got Alfred to walk. Alfred to walk around the garden with a sprayer, and we did it over a 3-week period. And I want to tell you, no blackjacks.
Yeah,
it's worked. Look, it's taken a lot on the application side, but maybe I diluted it a bit too much. I don't know.
It's actually funny that you talk about it. And there was one of these YouTube channels that I watch about these farmers in America, where the guys say, you know, they apply all these things, you know, that what's it, this weed killer stuff, and all the bug repellents, and they say, have you noticed in the past few years how little, how it came about? There was some bug splats on a window of a car, you know, and he says, have you noticed how little bug splats you actually find nowadays on your cars? You know, in our young days, if you traveled down to Kroonstad, you had to stop and clean the window before you could continue. Nowadays, you can drive all the way to Cape Town and there won't be a single bug splat on the window. It shows you how the insect populations has been decimated by all these farming activities.
Absolutely. I mean, even there, when we go back to the scriptures, everything was, it was not GMO. Nothing was genetically modified. It was out of the ground. You ate it. That was the done deal. There were no pesticides and herbicides and other fucking sides that were put to it. You charred what came out of the garden. That was the bottom line. You know, their fruit markets probably stank to high heaven because of the rotten tomatoes that were pulled out of the garden and would still be sold. Nothing went to waste. And I've been laughing at myself the whole of winter every time I make soup. All of the greens that I purchase, absolutely fuck all gets thrown in the bin, eh? I chopped everything up as it was, moved it in the pressure cooker, and I cooked. Anyway, last night this conversation went on for another hour and a half.
Okay.
With Gideon having plenty to say. And I just want to, I think it's probably going to be about the last 10 minutes or so. I want you just to listen to what Gideon has to say here. Now, listen carefully to it. So I'm going to share the screen. I'm going to pull this back a little bit. I just want to make sure that you can hear the video. So tell me if you can't hear it. I'm starting the play now.
I can't use it hands-free.
I can hear it.
Because our road situation is so bad that it sounds like I'm hitting somebody with a hammer all the time, with the most expensive stuff that I can put in the car because of our situation on the roads. Okay, it's a sports car, it hasn't got great suspension, but our roads are so shit. The roads are in such a horrible state. I mean, I hit a pothole yesterday. Luckily, I was driving the big Bucky. On the highway, actually this morning, I was on my way to Kempton Park and going on the highway. Yes, telling my wife, her head almost hit the roof of the car. As we hit this thing at 120 k's an hour on the highway, joint on the highway that's not put together properly. I have a look at my road in front of my house. Over the last 25 years, they've never retarded. We're in a horrible situation, and we can do nothing else other than comment that we're in a failed state, and we have to accept that, because the normal course of things is that roads will be maintained. You know, and you have a look at the tax rate, you have a look at where electricity, 38% increase on electricity, the new situation. It's a joke. You know, luckily I pay almost nothing for electricity. Luckily I don't use water. You know, but this is the situation. You cannot rely on any of the government services. And that's a fact. Police, absolute nightmare. Absolute nightmare. You cannot. I mean, I've got a situation with vagrants. You know, you get some silly people around here. My neighbors think it's a good idea to give vagrants food twice a week. So I start reporting this. Now you get vagrants sitting on the pavement, sitting on my pavement in front of my house, busy checking, sussing out the whole situation. I contact the local councillor about it. They said, oh no, just talk to your neighbor. You know, there's nothing we can do about it. Well, they're frigging municipal bylaws that tell you that you cannot do this. But even our councillor is not interested in it. The police aren't interested in it. So what do? I stand on the balcony and I sit and watch them and hope that they move away and just make them aware that I'm here and I'm busy watching them. But these are, and you can go anywhere in the world, any country in the world, it's not like this. These are absolutely the signs of a failed state. And until we accept that, and that's why the search situation is a good situation. You know, to have like-minded people talking to each other, and like-minded people who are aware about preparedness. So, Chad, I fully support you. I just don't have lots of time to support you because I'm so busy preparing for my own stuff.
No, it's fine. Still come up on book, and you put in what you can when you can. That's what it's all about. There's 6 minutes left. Ace, any comments from your side?
Oh, I'm just really, thank you so much. I'm just listening in.
Okay, you're very soft, eh?
Yeah, it's my bad cell phone. I say I'm just listening in. No worries. Can you hear me?
Yeah, okay. So you're just listening. Okay, cool. Oh no, comments your side.
None at the moment that I can think of. I've got one or two things, but it's not that urgent. I will just send you a WhatsApp and just wait for the reply.
Or just send it on a voice note. That's also fine. You know, sometimes it's easier than typing a message. Although I do believe that typing a message, at least you can use a search facility and find it quickly. Okay, now good stuff. But like guys, I think the main thing to understand is that you put in what you can when you can. Outside of that, I mean, Sunday nights we come up, you know, what I'm going through at the moment and what I'm covering is basically all that we're doing. But at least we know that people are still there and using the repeaters, and I'm trying to encourage people to come up on Zoom and everything else. And this COVID really, you know, I used to have a net of about 20 people a night, minimum. Even Ace will bear with me, even when I ran a net for Hamnet, we Yes, dude. Our novice net, when we did the novice net in 2016 and 2017, we did a Tuesday night and a Thursday night. We'd start at 7 o'clock and finish at the.
That was-
That was marvelous. Exactly.
Chad, I just want to make it,
Here, he holding his underwear.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. You are very, very soft. What Pierre, what I said was, I must tell you that we can see you folding your underwear. Gideon, you wanted to say something quickly?
yeah, so I do want to make, I do want to make a comment about the recording of this video. It will probably be the last time I ever attend this because of the recording of the videos and you publishing it.
Well, it's only published for the CERT volunteers, by the way, but this one doesn't get published. The first session, yes.
Yeah, it makes me very uncomfortable
Why?
because it's on record.
Yeah, certain statements. Agreed.
So I will never attend your session again because of it.
No, man. You just got to choose your words carefully.
No, it's not a safe place to talk. So I'm going to leave you now and I'll speak to you soon.
I think it's a pretty safe place, but this. Now, I wonder what that was all about.
Ja, ik weet ook niet.
Adrian,
Yes,
what do you make of that?
yeah, I don't know. You know, to go through such a long thing and then suddenly just terminate it that way.
30 minutes, 40 minutes, and basically another 30 minutes and suddenly drop off. And then I sent him a message. I said, and now, so this is what he said, he responded. I don't know, can you read it?
Not really. Yeah, now I can.
Please do not publish any video or any recording from any group discussions where I have been present. You do not have my consent. I will stay in contact, but there's too much risk being involved.
Gee, okay.
You know, and what's even more amazing is he's an ex-cop, as he mentioned earlier in the conversation, with an additional cop present at this moment. He went on literally that full 30 minutes up until wherever he was here. Whether we're looking at about 37 minutes. He spent the better part of 20 minutes talking about cert and prepping and just never stopped. And made all these statements openly and then suddenly catches a wake up to the recording.
No, I don't know, Chad. You know, as his ties, you know, being an ex-cop, or is he really, or is he still an informant into the system? I don't know.
Also, he's big buddies with Andre, Z6WAT.
Oh, okay.
Now, the question that I'm going to ask is, what impact is this going to have on Arno, the one that's on the screen at the moment? Because I sent him a message after this and I said, listen, thanks for joining. Please don't forget to send me your questions. And I haven't heard anything since. So this might be one of these areas whereby we see the club interference or certain members interfering. But you nailed it, you know, after all that was being said and all the rest of it, why suddenly end things just like that and gone?
Somebody, you know, he probably got a WhatsApp from somebody at some stage. And he actually read it or something, or it popped through to him.
Yeah, which I don't actually see, you know, that sort of taking place, although, yeah, it could have been reading it. But then, you know, how would that person know what was being said unless it was Ace or Arno that had sent him a message, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that was an interesting one. I thought you'd be interested on that one.
Yeah, Chet. No, I think that we're not doing anything illegal. We're not, okay, we might have talked a bit, you know, the story about the failed state. And I think he was more in line of that. And then he probably saw that he spoke too much. Maybe he doesn't want to be known as a prepper. I don't know. So yeah, he said that he was preparing for himself and doesn't have time for other things.
Just hold on, I asked Fani as well. Mr. Fani. Well, and you? Ah. Yeah. Yeah.
Will that cause an explosion or just a leakage of the fuel? I'm not sure what's going to happen there. And I'm not sure what we should do about it.
Okay, Fani, now, here's an interesting thing. This was raised in a advisory. Well, you were at that meeting that we had with Ebram and the rest of the crowd, and the Transnet pipeline came up for discussion, and nobody seems to have an answer. It is also one of the areas that I've raised in the disaster area damage assessment training manual. And I think I referred specifically to that pipeline, or at least the inference was towards that pipeline. So what would happen? That's a very good question. Can you imagine those guys having an accidental explosion taking place and blowing that fucking pipeline up? I mean, we're going to have a fireball. We're going to have a Beirut scenario that's taken place. Certain areas are going to lose windows. There's going to be a good rock and roll of everything around us, and then of course there will be the fuel leakage as it burns and all the rest of it. So it's a serious problem right across the board.
Okay.
Again, it comes back down to within our local communities, we need people who are able to respond and assist if this type of situation does occur. You know, because like if you are within, let's say, 1 kilometer of the pipeline and it does go kaboom for 500 meters, you could be taken out in such a way that, well, firstly, you probably won't be able to help.
No. Now you say a kilometer. advice that I got was that we could, evacuate 300 meters.
Well, I mean, if you think about it this way, the reverb from a petroleum explosion, as we saw in Beirut lost something like 20 square kilometers of buildings and lives and everything else. Okay, that there was a hell of a lot of chemicals that went up, and whatever the case might be. But in cases like this, there's no way of predicting what can happen. So any explosion, you could in actual fact have the sound waves traveling up to 1 kilometer, if not even more, which in itself blows out glass windows, which in itself causes injury. So, if there's no such a thing as, well, we'll need to evacuate or keep a safe distance of 300 meters, maybe 300 meters after the explosion. But a fireball on one of those pipelines, you're not going to come within 300 meters of that fucking pipeline. It's going to be too hot.
Okay, so what is well, I think what I should do is get Terry Nell and the legal involved, and then from the legal side, I just thought and so what that other we in L or something to do something about this number. But what do you think?
I really and truly, I don't know. I think that this is a known problem. It's been a known problem for many years. Nothing has really been done about it up until now. Following the rape, yes, there's a lot of now news coverage about the Zamas. Communities have been terrorized for years and have suffered increased violence and all the rest of the cuck that's taken place as a result of it. And that entire pipeline, of course. I mean, we've seen it in Alberton where they tap into the pipeline and steal fuel in any event. So, and then they just drive off and leave the pipe sort of leaking and all the rest of it. So there's a lot of problems with regards to the pipeline, and there's no ways that you can close it down.
Okay. Okay. No. So let me have a chat with them and see very quickly to try and take it on or something.
Yeah.
But when they yesterday morning, they didn't roll down. We can just away from the park.
Yeah, no, look, it's a serious problem, Fani. There's no two ways about it. They don't give a shit where the fucking pipe is. To them, it's just a pipe. I'm waiting for the day that they're going to try and bring in an oxyacetylene torch to cut away the metal that they can go and fucking trade in. I mean, that's going to be a beautiful one. That.
I never even thought about that. Okay. So I'm actually write something about that, and specifically for our research experiment. So if something happens there, they can know what it is. But I don't know a lot about explosions, that type of explosions.
Yeah, well, I think explosions is the one area of concern, and then fire is the second one, and then environmental pollution is the third one.
Yeah. I'll have to lean on somebody to give me information on that.
Yeah, okay, cool, man.
Yeah. Okay, the second thing is, you mentioned information last night before information. I was not a lady here, but I spoke to her this morning and she said, my name, no place. What do you? It's like secret.
Now, hold on. I didn't understand what you said there. You suddenly also became a bit on the quiet side. Just what's the second thing? Just go again.
You know, a lot like you mentioned, analyzing information and putting it together and so on. And we do have a lady here, she's quite good. Previously from military intelligence. But when I talked to her, she said there's no way under the sun that we will allow anybody to mention her name or, you know, she does that and you know,
Well, I mean, if they want to keep their identity secret, then they should just not get involved with CERT, period. That's the bottom line. I mean, CERT is not we're not going to deal, when I'm saying intelligence, I'm talking about regarding potential disasters, that type of thing. I'm not talking about fucking national security, that type of thing. I mean, you know, there's intel that's needed. We need intelligence. We need to know what is happening, what areas are affected. It's part of the assessment aspect of CERT. That's what I'm referring to. You know, then, huh?
But she also does the security side.
Yeah, but what do you mean that's exactly what she does in terms of disasters?
Okay, what she does is all information, like the pipeline, the kilometers away from a pipeline. All that information goes to her and she analyzes and say, you know, look at the pipeline, etc., and whatever happens. But she also doesn't know, and I asked her, what will exactly happen if that pipeline is free?
Yeah, but I still don't see what that's got to do with CERT. I'm being honest with you. I don't see the correlation between her job and anything else.
Okay.
You know, like I said to the guys last night, look, you guys are policemen. Yes, now as CERT, we are in a situation that we've got a security issue while we're distributing blankets. You know, it's easy then to give it to one of our CERT SAPS members that can just push it up the chain.
Okay.
The same as having ILS and ambulance guys on the service. That way we can just push it up the chain. Doing it that way, it doesn't necessarily have to go through disaster management structures at all. You know, then at the same token, when I'm talking about intel, we need to know what areas are affected, what areas are closed, what areas we can get into, what routes are open, what routes are closed. You know, where's their food shortages. We've got SAPS members that go in. We got ambulance and fire members that are in an area. All of that information is intelligence.
Okay. Now I think I understand your point of view better now. I think I misunderstood it.
All right, cool, man.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, okay. Thanks.
Pleasure, man.
Have a lovable day.
You too. Okay.
Bye.
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 Now you can see what I deal with.
Sorry, Chad, I've also been busy on the side with some other stuff. Now I can hear with this. I don't know what is going through Gideon's mind.
Yeah, no, I got absolutely no idea either.
Okay, what I can just say is we've done nothing wrong. So, you know, maybe all I can think is that Gideon is now suddenly scared that he's becoming known as a prepper, that he probably has some huge stockpiles of stuff hidden away somewhere, you know, and things like that. He's going to become a target.
Oh man, I tell you. Well, then he mustn't get involved. As I said to Fani now, then don't get involved with CERT. I mean, that's not what you're here for. If you're worried about that type of but you know, it was like JFK. He now fucking gave me a snotty message last year, and he's pulling out a CERT, and he's not prepared to discuss it, and I must never contact him again, and all this shit. And I thought, now what the fuck is it with these people? In any event, 2 or 3 weeks ago, who does he call on 625? Me, to tell me Randfontein is closed. He can't get into Shamdor. This is now when they had this big blow up about the Zamas. I mean, I'm like Rory says, you know, fuck it. This is now really and truly getting bad news with how people are fucking reacting.
Yeah, no, it shows you that the number of people that you actually can trust is becoming very, very small. By the way, we had there was this early warning of a confirmed shutdown here in Krugersdorp because of the Zamas, and now there was just a voice message that came through that they say they are actually in the streets at Leipar's Fly Station. But it's unconfirmed with my own eyes, so I don't know.
Yeah, we'll monitor it and see what's going on. There's a couple of things that are coming out, and then of course we got Zuma in court today as well, which now could cause a problem and all the rest of it. Listen, let's see if we can do this before time's out. Otherwise, I'll open it up. I need to address what I'm now considering an extremely dangerous situation that we are finding ourselves in, and that is the following. We know that there are certain radio amateurs on the various repeaters that have got a particular method of operating, statements that are being made, intimidation, victimization, whatever you want to call it, taking place. And more people are beginning to say this is being done to get people off air or to piss Chad off. Last week, Whiskey Charlie on the Porky's Net actually said, Chad, I actually think people are in actual fact doing this to piss you off. Okay, now, that being said, I would then say that this has been done with the deliberate intention of chasing people off air.
I did not get that. That sentence was incomplete, Chad.